This video has been sponsored by italki.
So in this video, we're going to talk about some things that have confused us in Dutch while we've gone on our Dutch language journey. And we'll talk about some of our insecurities and also,
A lot of
some
them.
little quirks of the Dutch language that we find quite appealing
Yep.
and at times quite confusing and maybe even causing embarrassing moments. And then we'll get into some idioms and see if we can guess what they mean. Yeah, I know there was one that stumped me the first time I heard it. I'm going to try it on him and see if he gets it right.
Hey everyone, it's a brand new year.
And in the United States, that means making New Year's resolutions. But I kind of like how the Dutch don't call them resolutions; they call them good intentions, goede voornemens.
Goede voornemen.
Yeah, which gives it less of a threatening. You must do this.
Yeah, see in America when they make resolutions, everybody makes a big deal about them, like writing them down and okay, I'm gonna, it's a serious thing and I've got to stick to these.
So many of us, we drop our resolutions by the end of January. Yeah, so I like good intentions. It sounds like something sustainable over the year. So
You intend to do this.
yes.
So, if you don't, there's no pressure. You're not gonna,
Smack yourself in the
exactly,
face. Yeah. So our good intention this year is to get our Dutch up to a B2 level, which is just above the level of the language courses that you need to have for inburgering, for becoming a citizen, which is A2 currently. It's going to switch to B1. Currently, we're at an A2 to B1 level, which we were so thrilled when we were finally told we were B1 level, just to find out that basically means we communicate like a 9-year-old.
Yeah,
So
we
not
also,
that good to begin with.
we've been learning Dutch. We get a lot of comments from people saying, why don't you guys speak Dutch? Well, we're learning it, but we're not there yet. We're not really that confident in it.
Every language learner is different. Mark and I are better at reading and writing Dutch, but speaking and listening can feel intimidating. And that's why we love learning with today's sponsor, italki. italki is an online language learning platform with one-on-one lessons with native speaking teachers, real humans you can talk to without embarrassment, and who will give real feedback instead of the old strain, smile and nod. And italki isn't just for Dutch. They have teachers for over 150 languages. And with native speakers, you can also learn about the culture through tonation and idioms. That's the benefit of real conversations. And we love that we can set our own budget without yet another subscription cost. And the italki interface is so intuitive, you won't have to learn another operating system. You can choose your teacher, your schedule, and your price. I took a lesson with Dutch teacher Miguel Vromen, who has a 5-star rating. Here's a quick clip.
Ja, zeker, zeker, heel mooi. Veel tijd means a lot of time, but I think you want to say many times.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can say two things. You can say vaak, as in often, but in Dutch for times, as it is in like multiplying or the times you go somewhere, we don't use tijd, we say keer.
I never know which one to use. Sometimes I get it wrong, just I could tell from someone's face. But
2026 is here, so if you're setting New Year's resolutions, why not language learning? Give italki a try. Click the link below. Buy $10, get $5 free for your first lesson with code DUTCH2026. But it's only for the first 50 people, so act fast to start your language learning journey. Thanks again to italki for sponsoring this video.
yeah, to take you on our language journey, we started learning the language before we even moved here. We thought we were doing pretty good until we got into the real world scenario. And that's something we've been trying to work on. I noticed that it gets harder as we get older. Like when I was younger, I knew German and French fluently,
Yeah.
but if you don't use it, you lose it. I lost it. And then we started trying to learn in our 50s, and it was really hard.
Yeah, and the reason it's easier to write it because you have time to think, and
Yeah.
with the words and you be able to write them down. But when you're actually engaged in conversation,
Trying to pull them out of the ether.
yeah, it gets difficult. So
I mean, I'm at the point, and not everyone my age is going through this, but I'm at the point for me personally where I walk into a room and I don't remember why I'm there. So to be able to pull a word out of my second language vocabulary is pretty difficult right now. So we're trying.
she tries more than I do. When she goes into public, she'll begin with Dutch.
And we understand that's a privilege of living in the Netherlands, that so many people do speak English. It makes it a lot easier, but also that we shouldn't expect everyone to speak English, neither to
Yeah.
know it nor to use it.
We also have like a pretty good indicator of if we're saying words correctly, if we're talking Dutch correctly, because if somebody switches into English, we know we're not doing it.
We're not
We're not
doing
doing a
good.
good job. So,
But my problem is I lock up. So even
me
if
too,
I'm
yeah.
I'm feeling pretty confident that day about my Dutch, as soon as someone speaks it to me, I overthink in my mind. Okay, now you have to concentrate. You have to concentrate. You have to get what they're saying. Pay attention. Pay attention. Pay
Yeah.
attention. And by then they're finished talking, and I've just been staring at their lips, thinking about how much I have to listen to what
Yeah,
they say
I-
without actually listening to what they're saying.
I go into panic mode basically. So if somebody starts to speak to me in Dutch, a native language speaker has their rhythm and has their speed, and it's always too fast because I have to go long jump, long jump.
One of the things that helped me was before we moved, I got into the show De Verraders, and that led me to Vias de Mol. And Vias de Mol, I just fell in love
She's a
with.
fanatic.
But what it taught me was to be able to hear Dutch in different voices, different speeds, different dialects. And I thought it was an auto-translate error, was somebody said, de aapje komt uit de mouw. And it was something going on. They're just chatting about who they think the mole is, and then yeah, de aapje komt uit de mouw.
Monkey?
The monkey comes out of the sleeve.
Oh, okay.
And I really thought that was an auto-translate problem. So I went, that makes no sense. That can't be, the translation. And then later on in life, living here, I heard someone say it on a bus one day, and I went, oh, that's a thing. That's an idiom.
Yeah.
Had no idea. What do you think it means?
The monkey comes out of the sleeve.
Mm-hmm.
The truth comes out, maybe?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
the truth comes out. So we're going to be testing our idiom knowledge, or seeing if we can figure out what some of these idioms mean a little later too. We'll do our idiom round.
And I'm saying I probably assume that I haven't heard these.
So I started hearing yeah,
Yeah.
and I thought that sounds so cool. It sounds so Dutch. I want to do that. I'd be like yeah, thinking I sound Dutch now. And sometimes I would get a strange look because I didn't realize that yeah is not yes all the time. If you say it like I thought was cool,
It's the way you say it.
it's
right?
the way you
Okay,
say it.
all right.
So the way that I was saying it, thinking, yeah, like, of course, actually meant, yeah, that's nonsense. So right there,
Okay,
I got a few looks miscommunicated. Of course became, that's nonsense.
And this is new to me because I say yeah all the time. That's just the way I do. So I'm talking to somebody, I'll say yeah.
Well, that's okay.
And that's okay. That
Yeah,
doesn't,
yeah,
okay,
yeah.
it's not taken the wrong
So
way.
it's all about tonation.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you may think, ja for yes, nay for no, shouldn't cause confusion. but it did
Yeah.
for us. Because people like to say,
Yeah, nay.
yeah.
So it's a polite way of disagreeing with someone. That's what we're finding out. So I guess you'd say it, yeah, nay, with a drop on the nay.
Yeah, nay, yeah.
Yeah, nay. It's a polite disagreement. Yes, I understand, but I disagree.
Yes, I hear you, but with a caveat. First time we heard it, we were like, yeah, nay. Yeah, nay. It's like, come or go. We didn't know. Also, there's nay, ya. Nay, ya is, no, I didn't agree with you, but now I do, basically. It's like, right?
Right, yeah,
it's
nay,
like,
yeah.
yeah. So it's like you're talking to someone, you're telling them all the points. They didn't agree with you, and now they see your point, and they're leaning more towards your point of view. That's nay, ya. And then there's nay, hoor, which sounded to me at first like that was nayor. Nayor is a nicer, gentler way of saying no. So you don't just say no.
Yeah.
You say not really, or no, I'm fine.
And the reason the Dutch do this, it's a Dutch cultural thing. It's out of politeness, and it prevents escalation into arguments. So it's a way of disagreeing without getting anybody emotionally upset.
Well, it makes sense to me because the Dutch are very much on consensus. And so they're very blunt because they want to reach a consensus. You have to be honest. You have to put it all out there. But the yeses and the nos are the one thing that's not so blunt, because it's shutting down conversation. It's shutting down the possibility of consensus. So they soften the yes or no while being blunt about everything else, it seems.
But it makes sense, and I have heard this in conversation before.
And speaking of nehor, so the diphthongs also can confuse things quite a bit.
Yep.
Of course, the Dutch, they grown up speaking it, growing up listening to it, they can do those subtle shifts, which we are struggling with learning the language
Yep.
first off.
Still.
So you have hoor, which is to hear, and then you have
huur, which is to rent,
mhm,
and we're still working on that. That's huur. The way you got to form it in your
Huur.
mouth is unique.
and then you have
Huur.
hoer. So while we were looking for apartments, I had some strange looks sometimes because I think I was telling them I wanted a prostitute rather than renting an apartment. So yeah, those can get you in trouble.
Strange looks. I mean,
Well, I get strange looks all the time for many reasons, but that was one of them in that particular instance. So
okay.
yeah.
Just remember, huur.
Hoer.
Yeah.
Yeah. And again, we're still learning, so we're probably saying it I was saying it wrong, but anyway. So
Okay.
there's the diphthongs that you really have to pay attention to because it's not just trying to pronounce the language right. They have many words here that to American ears sound very, very similar to each other, but there are very distinct differences both in pronunciation and meaning. When we first moved here, I was trying to speak Dutch and she said, "Why do you keep saying V for W?"
Oh,
And
yeah.
I said, "I'm not." Well, I am. I said, "I am," because that's what you guys say, right? You say like vit for WIT for white. And she says, "No, we say whit."
Fit.
And, when you're saying the alphabet in Dutch,
So it's sort of like
it's
a breath.
ve, way.
Vit. So you're not saying V, or there's a breath.
Yeah,
Kind
she
of
was trying to
thing.
teach it to me. And I still, unfortunately, go to the default of making all my W's V's. But I'm
Attitude.
trying to make the
It
distinction, which
sounds
is
like that to us, though.
Yeah, it does. And the W, I guess, is at more at the lips at the front, in front of the gums. And the V is the lips vibrate and it's more towards the top of the mouth.
I got to work on that. That's
Yeah. That one confuses. The
that
v
one
and w.
and the other
Wha-
sound, the
wha.
sound, the sh. For we lived in Schiedam,
Oh God.
and I take pride in the fact that I do pretty well. She took a long time, but she does it well now.
No,
So-
I don't. I noticed that if it's SCHE, I can do it. If it's SCHI, I cannot. And if it's just CH in the middle of a word, I can do it. But
It's the most common sound in
it's
Dutch.
the compound sounds of the S,
Yeah.
the sh, and the S, the CH,
Yeah.
and then the I. So we
shoes.
lived in Schiedam, and I
Schiedam.
say I want to say it with an R. I want to say
Yeah.
I don't know why, but we lived in Schiedam, and I couldn't say the name of the city the whole time we lived.
But can you say schoenen?
Yeah.
Shoes.
Schoene, yeah.
There you go. She got it. So
So it's just after following it, an eye following it, I
Yeah.
can't do.
you will. You'll get it. You'll get it. Keep working.
You're 50, I'll finally get it, and then I'll die. One of the words I absolutely love in Dutch, and we did have a viewer say, "Would you guys please stop using it?"
We actually used it before. We learned it before we came here.
We learned it before we came here. The incident was that where we were living in Brooklyn, we were introduced to a Dutch woman who was there on work assignment. She had a very deep, velvety voice. And then when she left and she's talking to us like this, she goes, "Doei!" And I thought someone stepped on her toe. I had never heard Doei before, and her voice went like 2 octaves up.
Yeah.
It was so startling.
It was jolting. But when you come here, you hear Doei. We use it all the time.
Or just do.
Reflexively. We just, when we go to leave, we say Doei. It's just, natural now for us to do it.
Although Doei is one of those many words the Dutch use for goodbye. Dutch
Yeah.
are very blunt. They just want it. They don't like how Americans, pitter patter, take a while to start meetings, take a while to say hello.
Yeah.
And they just, when you answer the phone, they'll just say like met River, so it's like, you're with me, you're talking to River. So now begin. What are you calling for? There's none of this, hi, how are you? Oh, nice. Yeah. None of that. But the irony is, as efficient as the Dutch are in conversation, it seems like the goodbyes are protracted.
Yeah.
And I found this out the first time I had like a service call with someone on the phone, and they had many words for goodbye, and I think she used all of them. And then she also said like dag and doei maybe 10 times each, like dag, 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 doei. And it took forever. I'm like, yeah, okay, Ja,
Ja.
ja, tot ziens. Ja.
Tot ziens.
Dank u wel.
Tot ziens inderdaad.
Ja.
Tot ziens.
Fijne dag.
Doei.
Fijne dag. Dag.
Ja.
Dag. Doei. Doei. Doei.
Fijne middag.
Yeah, it takes a while to say goodbye sometimes, I've noticed here.
Yeah.
Which is ironic since they want a quick hello. So there's that fun stuff. And doei is part of
I think
that.
Doei is my favorite word.
Doei is a fun
Doei.
word to say. I also like another word, which I think is spelt with 15
Oh yeah,
E's.
yeah. Okay. I've heard- yeah.
Because it's so guttural. It's like confusion manifesting through the throat. Huh?
We just say what?
What? I love hey. He's
We've heard
perfect.
this several times, so it really is a
Hey.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah. I love hey. So one trap we fell into while we were learning was we were learning the Amsterdam accent, which is dropping the N at the end of verbs. So like in one video, we were talking about Nixon.
Yeah.
And we were calling it Nixa. Keep dropping the
Yeah.
N at the end. We thought, oh, this is
We-
easy.
We were corrected many times. by
We were
people,
corrected many times because outside of the Ronstadt, it can be viewed as inconsiderate of the language, as lazy, as not taking it seriously, as not showing it proper respect.
But again, we hear it. We hear that it's not there. That's our ears aren't really attuned to hearing the N, which sounds silent to us.
Yeah, sometimes they will say the N so softly, it's just the it's like the tongue touching the top of the mouth
Yeah.
without making the full sound.
And I think it's incredible that they noticed that we're not saying the N. Like they pointed out to us.
Yeah,
So-
well, because we were really dropping it. We were doing it
Well, yeah,
at
that's
the
true.
end. So it was
Completely.
Nixa
Yeah.
instead of
Nick
Nixon.
said.
It's like I was talking before about when I watched Vies de Mol and he talked about the monkey coming out of the sleeve. There's a lot of idioms in the Netherlands, which if you do a literal translation, you might find confusing. So I'm going to play a game with Mark. We're going to give each other some idioms that the other one hasn't heard before and see if they can figure out what it means from the translation. Okay,
Let's do it.
all right. I'm going to start one here. Met je neus in de boterwallen.
With your nose in the butter,
Falling with your nose in the butter.
falling with your nose in the butter. Okay. Okay. I don't know.
To get lucky unexpectedly. Because it's like woof, broke my fall with the butter, so my nose didn't break. When you take a part like that, it makes sense. But
Yeah.
when you first hear it, you're like, hey,
Hey? Here's one for you. Pretty easy. Het is koek and I.
Het is cake and egg.
It is cake and egg.
It is cake and egg. Well, those two go together. Cake and egg go together.
Everything's going well. Everything is
okay. Well, that
fantastic.
makes sense then. They go together.
Yeah.
So everything's in
Yeah.
its right place. Everything's fitting
That
together.
makes sense.
Okay, that makes sense. Let's see. Als er een egelte over je tong piest.
I have no idea.
Come on,
Wait, wait.
try.
I don't know. What is it? It's
As if an angel is peeing over your tongue.
ew. I don't know. What does that mean?
It means it was a delicious bite. It's lekker.
Like an angel peeing over you. Okay.
Yeah. Would you ever use that?
I probably will use that someday. Yes.
Yeah.
This one here. Dat slaat als een tong op in varken.
That slaps. That slaps. That slaps like a tongue. It's not tongue.
Nope.
On a pig.
That hits like tongs on a pig.
That hits like tongs on a pig.
It basically translates into that makes no sense at all. That hits
Well,
like tongs on a
Okay,
pig.
because that's exactly what I
Yeah,
thought when I
yeah.
heard it. That makes no sense at
That
all.
makes no sense
That's
at all.
like,
Yep.
I wonder what the history of that was.
I don't
Where
know.
that came from. Iemand achter het behang plakken.
I don't know what that is. Sorry.
Or sorry, not planken, plakken. Glue someone behind the wallpaper.
Okay, what does that mean?
When someone's really annoying and you don't want to deal with them right now, so you just like, let's put a pin in that. Let's put them aside.
Okay.
I don't want to deal with them. We'll put them
Let's-
behind the wallpaper.
Glue them behind. Oh, okay. All right. Let's glue them
Out
behind.
of sight, out of
Out of
mind.
sight, out of mind. Yeah, okay.
Maybe.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah,
Okay.
maybe.
Iets onder de knie hebben.
It's under the knee. Knee? Knee?
Knie.
Knie.
Iets onder de knie hebben. To master something.
To master something. Oh,
Yeah.
why the knee? Why behind the knee?
My Nederlands hebt niet onder de knie, obviously.
Okay, achteraf kijk je een koe in zijn kont. Okay, it's afterwards it is easier to look a cow in the butt.
It's easier to be blunt, maybe? Easier to be I have no idea.
It's easy. Yeah, you can say that now. It's easy to say that
Easy
now.
to say that now. Okay.
Yeah, I guess.
Nu breekt mijn klomp.
My clog is now my clog breaks.
What's it mean?
I gotta get another shoe.
No, now I'm really shocked.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I can see that. Sure.
Yeah, okay.
Sure, that works. I like that.
That is actually kind of cool. I like that too. Nu breekt mijn klomp.
Thanks so much for putting up with our bad pronunciations, our misunderstandings if you see us in public, our misunderstandings if you watch our videos, because we make mistakes in every video.
We're going to struggle less and less as we go on with the language. It's been difficult, but it's really a great language. But it's just difficult for us. As we mentioned, as you get older, it's harder to learn the language as opposed to being 20 years old.
Not a sponge anymore.
Yeah, not anymore. But
No. Thanks so much for being here. We really do appreciate it. We appreciate the likes, the comments. Keep them coming.
we'll see you next time, folks. Thanks.
Doei.
Doei. De knappe kapper knipt in kapt knap, maar de knecht van de knappe kapper knipt in kapt knapper dan de knappe kapper knipt en kapt.
De knappe kapper knipt en kaapt knap, maar de knecht van de knappe kapper knipt en kaapt knapper dan de knappe kapper knipt en kaapt. I have no idea if I got that right. How much wood could woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood?